Section 7.5 Interest. In this video we will become familiar with basic interest terms, balance, principal, rate, and time, and how to calculate the simple interest on an account or loan, how to calculate the balance, the simple interest, and the principal amount borrowed, how to extend the simple interest formula, and how to find the balance when the simple interest is not known. One way of awarding interest is called simple interest. Before we provide the formula used in calculating simple interest, let's first define some basic terms. Balance. The balance is the current amount in an account or the current amount owed on a loan. Principal. The principal is the initial amount invested or borrowed. Rate. This is the interest rate, usually given as a % per year. Time. This is the time duration of the loan or investment. If the interest rate is per year, then the time must be measured in years. To calculate the simple interest on an account or loan, use the following formula. Simple interest is calculated with the formula I equals PRT, where I is the interest, P is the principal, R is the interest rate, and T is the time. Example 1. How much simple interest is earned if $1,200 is invested at 4% per year for 5 years? Solution. Set up the formula for simple interest. I equals PRT. The principal is P equals 1,200. The interest rate is R equals 4% or 0.04 per year as a decimal number, and the time or duration of the investment is T equals 5 years. Substitute each of these numbers into the simple interest formula I equals PRT to get I equals 1,200 times 0.04 times 5. Multiply to get 240, hence the interest earned in 5 years is $240. Calculating the balance. To find the balance, add the interest to the principal, that is, balance equals principal plus interest. Example 2. A contractor borrows $5,000 at 4.5% per year. The interest accrued is simple interest. The duration of the loan is 6 months. How much will the contractor have to pay back at the end of the 6-month loan period? Solution. Set up the formula for simple interest. I equals PRT. The principal is P equals $5,000. The interest rate is R equals 4.5%, which equals 0.045 per year as a decimal. And the time or duration of the loan is T equals 6 months. Because the interest rate is per year, the time must be changed to years. That is 6 months equals 6 months times 1 year over 12 months. Since 1 year over 12 months is our conversion factor, we'll cancel the common unit of months, multiply numerator denominators to get 6 over 12 years or 1/2 year reduced. Substitute these numbers into the simple interest formula I equals PRT. 5,000 times 0.045 times 1/2, which multiplying gives us 112.50. Hence, the interest accrued in 6 months is $112.50. Therefore, the amount owed, which equals the principal plus the interest, is 5,000 plus 112.50, which equals 5,112.50. That is, the amount owed at the end of the 6-month loan period is $5,112.50. Example 3. A business owner takes out a 4-month loan at 5.4% per year, simple interest. At the end of the 4-month loan period, the interest owed is $90. What was the principal amount borrowed? Solution. Set up the formula for simple interest. I equals PRT. The interest owed is I equals $90. The interest rate is R equals 5.4% equals 0.054 per year. And the time or duration of the loan is T equals 4 months. Because the interest rate is per year, the time must be changed to years. That is, 4 months equals 4 months times a conversion factor of 1 year over 12 months. The months units cancel, and 4 times 1 year over 12 equals 4 over 12 years, which reduces to 1 over 3 years, or 1/3 year. Substitute these numbers in the simple interest formula I equals PRT to get 90, which is the simple interest, equals P, the principal, times the rate of 0.054 times the time of 1/3. Rearrange order of multiplication to get 90 equals 0.054 over 3 times P. Divide 0.054 divided by 3 equals 0.018. Solve the equation for P. Divide both sides by 0.018. On the right, 0.018 times P divided by 0.018 is P. On the left, 90 divided by 0.018 is 5,000. Thus, the principal amount borrowed was $5,000. Example 4. A pet shop owner borrows $8,000 for 6 months. At the end of the 6-month loan period, the interest owed is $200. What was the simple interest rate? Solution. Set up the formula for simple interest. I equals PRT. The principal is P equals $8,000. The interest owed is I equals 200, and the duration of the loan is T equals 6 months. As we saw in example 2, 6 months equals half a year. Substitute these numbers in the simple interest formula I equals PRT. So we get 200 equals 8,000 times R times 1/2. We can rearrange the multiplication to get 200 equals 8,000 over 2 times R. We'll divide 8,000 by 2 to get 4,000, or 200 equals 4,000 times r. Solve this last equation for r. Divide both sides by 4,000. On the right, 4,000 times r divided by 4,000 is r. And on the left, 200 divided by 4,000 is 1 over 20. If we divide numerator and denominator by 200. We need to change r to a percent. This is easily accomplished by creating an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. Multiply 1 over 20 by 5 over 5 to get 5 over 100, which is 5%. Thus, the simple interest rate r is 5%. Extending the simple interest formula. In example 2, we had to add the interest to the principal to discover the balance owed at the end of the loan. That is, balance equals principal plus the simple interest. Or in symbols, A equals P plus I, where A is the balance, P is the principal, and I is the simple interest. Because I equals PRT, we substitute PRT for I in the last equation to get A equals P plus PRT. Use the distributive property to factor P from each term on the right to get A equals P times the sum of 1 and RT. Balance formula using simple interest. If simple interest is applied, then the balance is given by the formula A equals P times the sum of 1 and the product of R and T, where A is the balance, P is the principal, R is the simple interest rate, and T is the duration of the loan or investment. Example 5. If 4,000 is invested at 6.25% at simple interest, what will be the balance after 2 years? Solution. Start with the balance formula for simple interest. A equals the product of P and the sum of 1 and RT. The principal is P equals 4,000. The rate is R equals 6.25%, which is 0.0625 as a decimal per year, and the time is T equals 2 years. Substitute these numbers in the balance formula to get A equals 4,000 times 1 plus 0.0625 times 2. Use order of operations to simplify. First, multiply within parentheses to get 0.125, then add 1 and 0.125 to get 1.125, then multiply 4,000 times 1.125 to get 4,500. Hence, the balance at the end of 2 years is A equals $4,500. Example 6. The balance due on a 2-year loan is $3,360. If the simple interest rate is 6%, what was the principal borrowed? Solution. Start with the balance formula for simple interest. A equals P times the sum of 1 and RT. The balance is A equals $3,360. The rate is R equals 6%, which equals 0.06 per year as a decimal, and the time is T equals 2 years. Substitute these numbers in the balance formula. A equals P times the sum of 1 and RT. We get 3,360 equals P times the sum of 1 and 0.06 times 2. We'll use order of operations to simplify. First, multiplying within parentheses 0.06 times 2 is 0.12. Then add within parentheses 1 plus 0.12 equals 1.12. Then multiply. We have P times 1.12, and we'll change the order to get 1.12 times P. So we have the equation 3,360 equals 1.12P. Solve this last equation for P by dividing both sides by 1.12. On the right, 1.12 times P divided by 1.12 is P, and on the left, 3,360 divided by 1.12 is 3,000. Hence, the principal borrowed was P equals $3,000. Example 7. The balance due on a 2-year loan is $2,200. If the principal borrowed was $2,000, what was the rate of simple interest? Solution. Start with the balance formula for simple interest. The balance is A equals $2,200. The principal is P equals $2,000, and the time is T equals 2 years. Substitute these numbers in the balance formula to get 2,200 equals 2,000 times the sum of 1 and R times 2. We can change the order of multiplication to get 2,200 equals 2,000 times the sum of 1 and 2R. Solve this last equation for R. Distribute the 2,000 on the right to get 2,000 times 1 is 2,000, and 2,000 times 2R is 4,000R. Then subtract 2,000 from both sides to get 4,000R on one side. So on the left we have 2,200 minus 2,000 is 200, and on the right 2,000 plus 4,000R minus 2,000 is 4,000R. Divide both sides by 4,000. On the right, 4,000 times R divided by 4,000 is R, and on the left 200 over 4,000 is 1 over 20 when we reduce. Of course, R must be changed to a percent, an example where we encounter the same fraction. R equals 1 over 20 equals 5 over 100, which is 5%. Hence, the rate of simple interest is R equals 5%.